Hello once again YouTube, Chris the Nightbringer here bringing you some StarMade New Eden Fleetworks, and today we are taking a look at the Gallente. It is the Gallente showcase, which we will be splitting up into two videos. We will talk about the Gallente, what they're all about, and showcase some of their ships. In this video it will be drones through frigates and destroyers and cruisers. And in the next one it will be battlecruisers, industrials, and battleships. So, what are the Gallente all about? Real quick though. You probably have never seen some of this stuff. This is old stuff that I made 2 years ago. These are drones from around when I had 500 subscribers, as opposed to 3,000 that I have now. Which is pretty crazy. That is crazy. I should probably do another subscriber special and release something crazy. I don't know what, though, because it's like, I already released a ton of stuff, so I have no idea what I'd be doing. If you have ideas, leave a comment below. Anyway, moving on. We're going to talk about what the Gallente are all about. Apparently, the Gallente are French, and that is not a joke. They are French space people. When the civilizations or the corporations that travel through the Eve Gate into the New Eden Star Cluster did this, apparently these people, these French people, French corporation, French-speaking people, I don't know, they travel through the gate and they settle in a region of space in the New Eden Cluster, and for some reason, after thousands and thousands of years, they still have the same accent. Or they still speak French, and it's very strange. They have even released official videos with Gallente people speaking, and they sound like the most French people I've ever heard. And I took French in high school, so I've heard a bit of French, but not as French as this. It's very strange. Anyway, that's not really important, but for some reason that's a big part of their culture, I guess. I don't know. It's every time Gallente come up, they're just called space French people or something. I don't know. Anyway, what are they all about? Well, when they started expanding into space after their recession into a more primitive lifestyle, a primitive culture, they divided up their nation into states. And it works similarly to how America is divided up into states, where they tried creating a true democracy, right? They were all about people's freedoms, and all about the freedoms of the individual and expressing rights and stuff like that. So they wanted that to be persistent. Additionally, you know, their socio-economic system allowed people to be incredibly wealthy or to drop off the face of the earth into a pit of poorness. So it's a very diverse people, and so they split up their nation into states so that they could all be represented, and etc., etc. And of course, with this comes the Caldari state. And the Caldari and the Gallente, either they share the same home system or the same home planet, something along those lines, I believe. The Caldari had very different ideals in terms of what they wanted to achieve. And they broke off and created their own nation, and there's been a lot of wars and fighting among the Caldari and the Gallente for not only the home system, but just in general, I guess. I don't know. I don't actually know that much about the Gallente, mostly because I didn't pay attention to them. I hate the look of their ships. I don't hate them, but they're hard as balls to make in StarMade, so I wasn't really interested in them. And I have only just realized some of this stuff by reading it in the past few weeks. So yeah, that's just about the extent of my knowledge on the Gallente. They have a lot of Minmatar in their country because they're all about, you know, freedom, and the Minmatar were once enslaved by the Amar, and maybe those Minmatar don't believe in their own people's society, their own republic, which is, you know, the Minmatar Republic. So that's interesting. What else? They have Serpentis, which I don't know if they're directly tied to Gallente ancestry, but the Serpentis strictly use Gallente ships. We'll be taking a look at maybe some Serpentis stuff in the future, because they only really have one unique ship model. But they use Gallente ships, and they're pretty much the drug manufacturers of the entire region, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, we've pretty much been looking at mostly frigates. You'll see the Tristan over there, the big, tall one, and that's like freaking huge. That is 20 meters larger than when I initially imported it, and I don't know why, but apparently the number changed in Eve. I have no idea why, but that's a pretty big frigate. which is alright, because it lets me get quite a bit of detailing in there. I don't even know what that frigate is used for. I don't know what any of these frigates are used for, except for that ugly one in the middle, which I consider the most ugly ship in all of EVE. I'm not even kidding. That is it. That's it right there. It's the Imicus. I hate it. I want it to be completely different than what it is right now, because it's fucking bent. It's stupid. I'm sorry, that's just dumb. That is just dumb to me. Who makes... It's like a... I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even know. That doesn't... It's not describable. That shape is just not describable. Here we have the Federation Navy Comet, which is a faction frigate. Each faction, the 4 main factions, has a faction frigate. I don't actually know if they're better in any way, or if they're specific to tied to a specific purpose. I'm assuming they're all combat frigates. And this is the only other ship, aside from the Algos, which we're about to see, that has a detailed interior cross-section that CCP has released. So this will be one of the most accurate ships I create, when I create it. It's a little bit smaller than I would have liked, but what can you do? So now we're moving on to the destroyers. And of course, you can see that the Gallente are all very curvilinear, not a lot of hard edges. And, of course, they are green. Also, you may notice that I'm no longer in my old Gallente sector. I'm in a new one, which more closely represents the nebula that they are in EVE, which is pretty nice. I very much like it. We've got some yellowish browns, we've got the green. I think it works quite nicely. We've got some dark blues in the darker areas. So yeah, that'll be exciting. Right. So yeah, it's green now. Get over it. Because I know there's a bit of a debate as to what color it is, but the Gallente ships are mostly green now. They used to be blue. I used to color them blue, and you saw that down towards the beginning with the drones, but it's definitely green now. And I personally kind of like it more, actually. It gives it a bit of an aggressiveness that was missing. So here we have the Hecate, or Hecate. Nobody knows how to pronounce it, and that's true amongst even the developers of the game, which is pretty amazing. This is their tactical destroyer. It's their newest ship in the Gallente Federation. Pretty nice. Its wings extend out. It's got like flaps that open up and antennas that extend, which is pretty sweet. Down here we have the Algos, which is a big drone boat. So one thing that is a staple of the Gallente design is that because they're a republic and because they're all about personal partying and all that crap, they very much like their luxuries, and that means not doing work. So a lot of their society revolves around drones and automation and stuff like that. They have one of the most automated industrial... They are part... Okay, I worded that terribly. They have one of the most automated industries in all of New Eden, simply because of this. And for a long time, they used to defend themselves solely with drones, but drones aren't exactly capable of making tactical decisions or coordinating as best as a person could. So they changed that up a bit. And in fact, we'll see some of these in the future if I can get their models imported. They're being a little rough. But during some scientific research into drones, they actually created an entire drone race, which is a little freaking crazy. But basically they made rogue drones, which occupy an entire swath of star systems in New Eden. And these drones have learned to replicate. They mine, they steal resources, they process those resources, they build more drones, and they mutate. They change their code, and they actually alter their looks and their programming, and they're actually evolving, and nobody understands what their goal is. Other than that, they're just aggressive as balls. And it's pretty crazy. And that is, you know, the downside to investing in artificial intelligence, of course, which the Gallente have learned, I'm sure. They still rely on drones a lot in their ships, which is, you know, still a staple of their design. I'm not really sure if I'll be able to pull that off, because right now drone control is not a part of StarMade, but it will be in the future, I have no doubt. So that'll be exciting. We are taking a look at the Celestis on the left and the Vexor on the right. Vexor's quite large, and I like the shape. It's a very plain cruiser. The Celestis is a bit uglier, in my opinion, and I don't think too many people would disagree with me there. Not exactly the prettiest spaceship. I'm going to come down here, take a look at the Thorax, which is a well-known Gallente ship. It's going to be a little hard, and it's asymmetrical, so that'll be interesting. If I can manage to pull that off, that'd be pretty sweet. I don't have confidence in that, because, oh man, Gallente ships are hard enough as is, but just making it so that both sides don't match, that's always fun. Oh yeah, look at that. That is totally different on both sides. That'll be exciting. However, we have the Exequior over here, and this ship I very much like. This is the latest version of this ship. They updated the model. It was asymmetrical before, and now it is symmetrical for the most part, and I very much like it. It's basically a Twinkie with engines on the back, and I love it. It's so amazing. It's so simple too, and it really shouldn't be hard to pull off, to be honest. I mean, there's some crazy shapes on this, but it looks kind of like a fun ship in terms of, you know, curvy ships. We've got some rotating warp engines in the back here apparently, so that'll be interesting to try and attach. We also have a drone bay down here. Another drone bay on another drone-based ship. So that's pretty interesting. Additionally, the Gallente focus a lot on structure, which is something that you can't really fix, as I understand it in EVE. Like, if you lose your structure, there's only a few ways to bump it back up, but there are no, like, structure reppers. So if you have, like, there's no structural logistics. So if you get damaged, you can't ask somebody to fix your structure, because that just doesn't exist, as I understand it. I think there are ways to repair structure, but I'm not even sure. I think it's nanite repair paste, which makes sense. They do have a lot of nanite pumps on their ships, as is described in various schematics and stuff. So that would make sense, but I don't fly Gallente ships enough to know. I have no idea if that's the case. Additionally, they use hybrid blasters, which are basically space shotguns, or something akin to that. What they do is they superheat the casing on their ammunition so that it basically turns into like a molten ball of energy, and they shoot it at the enemy, but because they heat the casing, it disperses, and they have very limited range, which means all of their ships are very close range in terms of combat. But yeah, it's basically going up against somebody that has massive firepower at close range, similar to a shotgun. So that's pretty interesting. The last ship we are looking at in this video is the strategic cruiser, the Proteus, and as you can tell, it is quite a complex looking ship. It is, of course, split up into its multiple parts. We have the bridge area in the front, and it's gonna be one hell of a ship when I attempt to get to it. I don't even know when I'll get to this thing, and it probably will be the last one I get to, because it's just so curvy and complicated that I don't want to think about it. But it does look cool, I have to admit. The engine area in the back here is something that definitely interests me. I love the way this looks, and it's actually not that complicated looking. I mean, that looks like a pretty straightforward area to detail, I'll be honest, even with the angles and the curves. Some of these other sections, however, they have all been imported with the new process, and they still look a little bit too jagged. You could definitely see that right there, center of the screen on that top bit. Very jagged right there. So that's something to think about when I get to it, and I don't want to get to it anytime soon, so yeah, that is the Proteus, and that is the Gallente lineup. In the next episode, we'll take a look at some of their other ships, the bigger ships, and yeah, that'll be pretty exciting. So thank you for watching, thank you for joining me. I don't have a Gallente ship to release, so you'll be getting something else, some other skin variant, if you comment down below. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more, and I will see you all next time.